Coming up tonight.
It's brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
President Akufo-Addo assures workers his government is mindful of the potential impact of their pension funds.
Also tonight, National Democratic Congress 2024 flag bearer hopeful Dr. Kwabena Duffuor questions his contender and former President John Mahama's credentials in managing the economy.
On the international front, Russia launches series of missiles at Ukrainian cities in the second pre-dawn attack in 3 days. We have details of these stories and more coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us. My name is Martin Esiedudate. The details of our stories now. Certainly the big one has to do with the May Day celebrations. And President Akufo-Addo says the board approval for an IMF bailout after government has put in the efforts is almost complete, and saying that they are hopeful that in the next few weeks they should be hearing something positive from the board approval and the board members of the IMF. The president said this when he addressed the gathering of the May Day celebration in Bolgatanga.
Ahead of the Labor Day celebrations, Organized Labour have been near unanimous in their resolve to oppose a revised attempt by government to include pension funds in a debt restructuring program. When the workers took turn to march past the president, their message was clear. Organized Labour was not interested in anything that hampers their pensions, in line with the theme for this year's celebration, protecting incomes and pensions. Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yaw Bah, did not mince words in calling out government over its refusal to cut down on its size while insisting on building a cathedral.
We believe that government can lead us out of this crisis by cutting all non-essential expenditures, including the need to stop spending our hard-earned revenue on the National Cathedral. I'm sure the president will have something to say about this, but we disagree. In fact, comrades, it will be better to convert the project into a national hospital.
The president, however, had good news. Ghana had met all the necessary requirements to finally receive board approval from the IMF.
We've continued to work tirelessly to complete all prior actions required to present Ghana's program to the IMF Executive Board for approval. We've also made substantial progress on the debt exchange program, as well as on our engagements with bilateral creditors to secure financing assurance required for the IMF program. We are assured that the next round of meetings of the Paris Club will result in the formation of an official creditor committee, inclusive of China, and the provision of financing assurance. The IMF and the World Bank have been very supportive in this journey. With the progress made so far, we expect the IMF board to consider Ghana's program for imminent approval.
With a celebration taking place in the Upper East region, President Akufo-Addo reaffirmed his commitment to ending the conflict in Bawku.
To intensify efforts of bringing peace to Bawku, I want to assure him, and indeed the nation at large, that there is no higher priority for government on the agenda of national security than the resolution of the Bawku conflict. Not only are we enhancing as we speak the security deployment in the area to promote more strongly the rule of law and hold accountable all who violate law and order in the area, we're also intensifying the efforts to find a solution to the customary tensions that underline the Boko conflict, so that hopefully a final resolution of that conflict can be attained, just as has been attained in Gabon. Nothing will give me greater pleasure in the concluding days of my presidency than to help bring lasting peace to Boko.
Let's touch on a number of the issues the president raised when he addressed the gathering on May Day today. Joining us via Zoom is Labour consultant Mr. Austin Gamma. Mr. Gamma, good evening and thank you for your time.
Good evening. Grateful.
Right, we know that organized labor has repeatedly, raised concerns about their, conditions of service, the economy, housing, etc. But it looks as though the biggest concern for them over the last few months, I should say, is that of pensions. President Akufo-Addo has just given an assurance that government is not going to touch their pensions, although there have been some maneuverings from different quarters and no specificity on how these issues of pensions is being dealt with. Did you get that kind of assurance yourself from the president's delivery?
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the challenge the country finds herself in, and obviously the leadership in the hands of the president. So he has no choice than to say what he said. But let me put it this way. I think temporary things have not led us anywhere. Trying to find a certain solution that may not last, only to come back to the same square, is no longer what we want in this country. And so this May Day, if I have any message, in addition to what the Secretary General of the TUC was stating, then now it is urgent and very urgent for us to have high quality leadership in this country, from bottom to up, from up down. And this should be a serious concern to each and every one in this country going forward, because we cannot afford to be cosmetic about anything any longer. Otherwise, our children and those to be born will be in a big, big trouble, to be very charitable. So we need leadership that will ensure that the directive principles of state policy, as enshrined in the Constitution of Ghana, will be lifted both in body and in spirit, and properly planted in all our policies and planning, not that so-called developmental agenda based upon some kind of manifesto will precede planning. We don't want that again. And I will be urging voters, asking some of you to re-echo it. Voters should never, never under any circumstance vote for any president in this country, any parliamentarian in this country that would just be re-echoing and rehashing that of, we want manifestation of what the Constitution says. If we can apply the directive principles of state policy properly as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution, we don't need any major planning again. You know, it's a question of the National Development Planning Commission ensuring that they duster what they have manifested into the directive principles of state policy. I think we are being overtaken by events too much. Right. And so, yes, the way would be for us to have such an experienced person now. We don't want any experimentation any longer. And we must ensure that the traditional way of going about things will stop. We must think outside the box and ensure that.
And how do you propose that is done? There are those who are already suggesting, for instance, that we need to maybe start looking at having a specific political grouping made up of labor unions, just like we have in the UK, to be able to, roll out some of these directive principles of state that you're mentioning, that if we really want that to work, we need people who are very interested and vested in that to be part of the decision-making process so they can then roll out these policies. Is that a position you share?
Yes. One of the big agenda under the same directive principles of state policy and as elevated into the Labour Act of Ghana is to ensure high-level inclusivity. Ghana, we appear to be a bunch of either jokers or not serious people. How can we leave our destiny into the hands of just one or two people? And we keep on dancing in the same circle. And I can see my friend Portia has come of age now. I'm sure either married or going to marry and having children. They must be taken care of. Your children must be taken care of,
right,
not under the whims and caprices of anybody. It must be based on principles. And so the point here is this. Yes, people must be involved, not at the pleasure of somebody. It's compulsory. That's why I think I'm not going to be involved in the dirty partisan politics of Ghana. No, I will not do that. But I want to make sure that politics being the meaning that we must make decisions for the people, we will not allow people to be asking wishy-washy questions again in the media when presidents come before us to ask questions, for them to be asked questions. It will be serious this time. And anybody who is listening to you and I, and who is desirous to become president of this country, they should prepare. I will offer by force to become one of the questionnaires. And I'll be there, and I'll ask the questions. And if they don't answer, you are failed. The party must go and bring another person.
right,
It's as simple as that.
right.
And we are not going. We shouldn't allow any traditional method of voting pattern. I'm going to speak to both the people in the Volta region and speak to the people in the Ashanti region. They should stop this partisan kind of voting. Let's vote for credible, high-level leadership.
Right.
That's what we must do. I'm tired of it.
And I get the sense that you are also alluding to the fact that labor, or the role of labor in national development, is extremely crucial, but then it seemed to have been relegated to the background. How do we rope in labor? How do we get the workforce of the country to be given the right recognition and then also the right tools to make sure that we build the Ghana that we are all, like from what you're saying, we are all looking forward to, our children can be optimistic about?
I appreciate that. Fortunately for labor, the labor law is very clear. Under section 113, the entirety of section 113, especially subsection C, is very, very unambiguous. It states, among other things, that they can call National Tripartite Committee meeting. And Ghana is the only nation under the sun that has that tripartite arrangement legalized in Ghana. So they can call for that meeting, and it is by force. They have to honor the meeting. And by extension, demand, as subsection C says, that they are there to discuss the importance of the national economy. That is the entirety of everything that we are doing so far. We don't need to be beggars and slaves to IMF any longer. And it is when we have the involvement of people, and we have people who are proper leaders that can throw such light, illumination, integrity, not a figure of speech, then we are assured of having not to be in the circles again. And we don't need, we have to have a proper paradigm shift. And people can think outside the box, and not people who are mechanistic in thinking, mechanistic in just temporary measures.
Right.
And we go to IMF, we are back, we are gone again. Now it is even very rough. We don't know whether we'll succeed or not. So I think it's very important that we get out of this circle once and for all. I agree with the Secretary General of the TUC, a lot of things they said, but I'm adding this value to it, that we must have a paradigm shift.
Mr. Gama,
Very, very important.
thank you so much, and happy Labor Day to you.
You're welcome.
Austin Gama is a labor consultant there, and clearly the conversation is for all of us to have, considering the fact that we are all part of this Ghana that we are in.
Exactly.
So yeah, and talking about labor and those who make things happen, teacher.
Yes, and if you're able to read and write, you have to thank the teacher. I'd say they are the mother of all professions.
Exactly, right.
So still on May Day celebrations, and government through a memorandum of understanding signed with organized labor on December 22 last year, decided to grant exemption to all pension funds in the domestic debt exchange program. In the MOU, however, both parties agreed to work together to explore mutually beneficial options. Let's take you through what has transpired over the period.
In October last year, the three pre-tertiary teacher unions, Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana, guarded that government intended to seek an IMF bailout. The teacher unions initially were not perturbed by the decision until they realized that government wanted to use pension funds as collateral with the IMF bailout.
In this debt exchange, individuals holding domestic bonds will not lose, are not affected by the value of their investment will be retained.
This compelled the teacher unions and the rest of organized labor to raise red flags over the issue. But in November, government announced the inclusion of the use of pension funds as collateral. This triggered anger on the labor front, which compelled it to publicly resist. In late November 2022, the government convened a meeting on the need to use the pension funds to seek the bailout, but labor would not agree while government insisted. In December, organized labor, which controls over 700,000 public sector workers, threatened a series of actions, including strikes and demonstrations, to prevent government from touching the pension funds.
And we are demanding that all pension funds invested in government bonds should be completely exempted from the domestic debt exchange program.
Government on December 23, 2022, issued a statement through the Finance Ministry to exempt the use of pension funds under the Domestic Debt Exchange Program. Government then decided to rope in individual bondholders onto the program, compelling them to come under various groups to resist government's plans through picketing at the Finance Ministry in March. On Good Friday, April 7, the Finance Ministry called for another meeting with pension fund managers and trustees and put before them a new deal to allow government to use pension funds. On Tuesday, April 11, leadership of organized labor came under severe criticism for accepting a deal without recall to the entire membership. But some of the leaders of organized labor denied ever being invited to the April 7 meeting.
Two parties have met. You have reached an agreement. If you even want to do something, I mean, it is very reasonable that you inform the other party that maybe I want to bring on board A, B, C, D. Can you come for us to discuss? But if, respectfully, that thing did not happen, then I don't think we are serious in having any good intention to reaching a very compromised position.
Then, on April 13, the Executive Secretary of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Azegbampo Ado, served notice to have accepted the new deal offered by government on behalf of its members.
This is for the Hedge Master Trust Occupational Pension Scheme established by Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOSAC. Right. We have analyzed it, and it meets our requirements. Others too have to analyze it, and it depends on the sort of investment portfolio that they have. We, based on our investment portfolio, we can meet all our cash requirements.
The leadership of organized labor was unhappy about his union's unilateral decision. Organized labor convened an emergency meeting on Thursday, April 20, to relook at the new deal but kicked against it.
Any attempt by government or the Board of Trustees of pension schemes to undermine the MOU will be fiercely resisted by organized labor.
Daniel Opoku, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, class is still in session, and the Trades Union Congress has described as a mirage government's dependence on a successful IMF program to rescue the country's economic distress on a May Day which saw a constant reminder of some struggling sectors of the economy. The working class advised government to halt profligate spending. William Evansinkum has filed this report from Kumasi.
High cost of living, Demand for salary increase, abandoned projects were some of the array of concerns projected at this year's May Day celebration in Kumasi. For the very first time, not a single placard commended the government for a favorable policy or program. The government has blamed the current economic quagmire on external factors like the Russia-Ukraine war and post-COVID-19 shocks. Some economic watchers have rather blamed government of profligate spending. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Augustine Adungu Apambila, says Ghana's problem goes beyond IMF.
Our history of engagement with the IMF provides ample evidence that IMF-sponsored programs and policies cannot change our economic circumstances. Another IMF program will only impose more economic burden on us. We have to change the situation ourselves.
An optimistic Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, believes there is light at the end of the tunnel.
The government and His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo has put together mechanisms that are already mitigating the effects of the economic challenges. This will not restore the fortunes of the country overnight, but will set us on track for the recovery of the economy.
Still on labor issues, and let's find out what's happening or how the other regions also marked the day. The Trades Union Congress, TUC, in some of the regions also marked the day, questioned government on the current hardship and insecurity in some parts of the country and the working environment.
Various placards on display spoke volume on the demands of workers in the two regions. The workers also raised concerns about the Galamsey fight. The Volta Regional Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, Edith Abla Amenuvo Apawu, did not mince words on the demands of workers.
Ghana has too many ministers and deputy ministers. Revenue mobilization effort should be intensified, but we caution against the excessive use of regressive taxes which impose this appropriate burden on local businesses and on poor people in society. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, and all its revenue collection agencies must be free from all forms of political interference so that they can perform their functions professionally and efficiently.
Volta Regional Minister Dr. Archibald Yaolecha received hostile reaction from the workers in his attempt to link the current economic challenges to the Ukraine war and other external factors.
No one can deny the fact that we are in an economic crisis brought about largely by the pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. No one can also deny the fact that we shall come out of this crisis stronger as we have always done in the past. Indeed, nations that have survived over the centuries and decades are not nations without challenges and conflicts, both internal and external, but are nations that enjoy the support, the cooperation, the commitment, and industriousness of their citizens.
The Northern Region chapter of the Trade Union Congress, Regional Secretary Felicia Kraja, urged traditional authorities to devise measures to settle all land and chieftaincy disputes to help provide conducive environment for workers.
When that happens, it will be a modest contribution from organized labor towards peace and stability in the Upper East region. We in organized labor believe that conflict and instability anywhere in the country pose a serious threat to lives and development everywhere in the country.
Deserving workers were honored.
That's JPRT.
Away from the Labour front, let's do some political stories. And NDC 2024 flag bearer hopeful Dr. Kwabena Duffuor has questioned his contender and former President John Mahama's credentials in managing the economy. Dr. Duffuor, who has been speaking exclusively to 3FM, has also dismissed assertions he is too old to run for president.
How do you respond to those who say that your decision to contest John Mahama expresses a vote of no confidence in his ability to run the economy?
I'm not saying so. The records are there. You are Ghanaian. Look at the records from 2009 to 2016. Don't you have the figures? The figures speak for themselves, not me. Do you understand? I cannot pass a vote of no confidence in him. The figures will speak for themselves.
The figures we know were terrible.
So what are you asking me? The figures were terrible. Then the figures are telling you that there was a failure somewhere. Should I talk about that?
We ran the twin deficits in 2013 after the 2012 elections.
Mm-hmm.
We saw inflation spiral. We went through the doomsday period, which obviously may not have been his fault, but he managed to resolve it before going out of power.
I'm talking about the figures on the ground. I'm not talking about his personality. Who was in charge? If you're happy with the figures, you ask, oh, who was in charge? Oh, he did a good job. If the figures are so bad, who was in charge?
Do you think he did a good job as president?
Look at the figures yourself.
Do you think he did a good
Don't
job
ask
as
me
president?
Look at the figures and speak to the figures.
So I look at the figures and they do not look too impressive.
So why do you ask me that question?
So in your view, did he impress you as president?
Are you happy with the figures yourself?
They don't look good on paper.
So why ask me that question?
One of the other contestants, it's Kojo Bonsu,
Yes.
mayor of Kumasi.
Yes.
He
Yes.
wants to contest
Yes.
against John Mahama.
Yeah.
Why don't you all just throw your weight behind him?
Why? How many people are contested in the NPP? How many people?
Well, currently...
And how many people contested in the NDC flag race contest in 2018, 2019? How many? Were not here in the country?
How do you respond to those
No,
who
no, no.
say
How many?
age may not be on your side?
No. How many? I'll be asking for a medical report, yours or mine, for you to determine who is healthier. That's right. Understand?
You mean you're very fit?
Bring your medical report, let you bring mine.
You mean me?
Yes, even you. Even you. Even you. Let them bring your medical report, let them bring mine, and let doctors comment who's healthier.
You can go the full haul, 8 years of presidency, and you will turn things around.
Do you read the Bible?
I do read the Bible.
Do. When God, if you believe in the Bible, when God decided to rescue the Hebrews from Egypt, he did not pick someone like you. He picked an 80-year-old person, knowing that they were going to walk on the desert for 40 years. There were younger people like you. Why did God not choose one of them, but went outside? Moses, who had run away and was staying outside, he brought him back at 80 years to lead the people. Why did it pick someone like you?
The popular view out there when you talk to the African youth on the street is that we've for long mortgaged our future, to older politicians who have not served as well. The Nigerians will tell you about Buhari. The Ghanaians today will tell you about Nana Akufo-Addo and the fact that he's not... You've seen the latest EIU report, for instance.
No. You see, people should do proper analysis. Professor Mills left office. He died when he was about 69. Do you know that? His deputy, vice, was His Excellency John Mahama. He was about 52. 69, 52. Look at the performances of the two people, John Mahama and Professor Mills. It's not age.
What is your verdict then?
But competence and integrity.
What is your verdict then?
My verdict? The figures are there for you to speak on.
You're saying that we should compare John Mahama's 4 years to Atta Mills's 4 years and compare their ages?
You are talking about age. I'm saying that it's not the age that matters in governance and management. It's the character and experience. You understand? You may be 90, but you don't have the character and the Bible.
What is your verdict of Nana Akufo-Addo's presidency?
I don't want to judge people. I'm saying that.
No, but you want to be president.
Yes.
And you must be able to speak well.
No, we are all...
You must be able to analyze the performance.
We're not happy about the economy. Who's happy about the performance of the Adonai? Nobody's happy. We're not happy. But you're talking about the age. It's not because the Ronaldo is old. It's not because he's old. Because Atanos at 69 had excellent performance than the younger president.
Than which younger president?
You know it.
Than John Mahama?
Of course, yes.
We'll also delve into issues on Dr. Dufour's defunct bank in tomorrow's news bulletin. Make a date with us.
All right, so we are staying on issues of politics and still quite related to Dr. Dufour because his son, that is Dr. Kwabena Dufour Jr., has also been cleared to contest the NDC parliamentary primaries that will be happening on the 13th of May. He will face off the incumbent member of parliament for Setre Afram Plains constituency, Alex Adomako. Dr. Dufour has been appealing to delegates to give him the opportunity to serve.
It's been 12 years of hunger since we created the constituency, 12 years of hardship, 12 years of visionless leadership, and it's time for one of their own to lead them. Setre Afram Plains, we need an MP who can mobilize resources and make things move. We don't need an MP who's going to sit in parliament and wait for the salary to come in. You need a businessman who can take risk, who can make things happen. That's what we need. The constituency is so far behind in terms of development that we don't need a business as usual MP. You need someone who's passionate about the constituency, who feels for the people. They say I'm alien. I was there since 2012. We have teak plantations in the constituency. There's a factory there. We've employed people. We've employed delegates. We've employed the people at Setre Afram Plains. How can I be an alien? There are people who were not even present during the 2020 election. They never campaigned for the party. They didn't get involved in activities. All of a sudden, they're in the register. But we'll leave that to God.
You're still watching News 360, the May Day edition, and from teacher Portia to Dr. Martin, we're taking a quick breather.
Yes, I'll be marking some scripts while you take out some patients.
Stay with us.
We're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Sugar and carbon.
Ma, pele to data, ebony day, *700#.
B-O-Y, boy. Taxi. Further together.
You can be part of a greater data world of endless possibilities on Vodafone. Mama! With the best value and amazing data offers and services in Ghana, you can now dream bigger, explore wider, go further, get more for less with Vodafone data.
We can do anything we put our mind to.
Vodafone. Further together.
Delicious jollof in just 45 minutes and with no chopping, no blending, no cutting. Let me show you how. Pour oil in a pan. Add 210 grams pack of Tasty Tom jollof mix and fry 10 minutes on medium heat. Add 1 liter of water or stock water, season and salt, and bring to a boil. Add 800 gram or 2 cups of washed rice and stir well. Allow to cook until water is drained and your jollof rice is ready. So anytime you can't wait for delicious jollof, just reach out for Tasty Tom jollof mix. In 45 minutes, sharp sharp, na jollof no I've been. Tasty Tom jollof mix, delicious jollof, sharp sharp. This advert is FDA approved.
Let's continue with the rest of our stories, and it is expected to help mobile network subscribers know the number of SIM cards registered with their Ghana cards after several complaints. My colleague Noble Crosby-Annan in this report finds out what has been the acceptance and performance of the short code on its first day.
MNOs will introduce a system to enable subscribers to check the number and details of the SIM registered in their respective names. *402*1#.
That was the Director General of the NCA, Joan Nochi, announcing the short code, which became effective May 1, 2023. Well, let's check how effective it has been. So we'll go through the process. *402*1#. We'll send. There's a message. Kindly input your Ghana card personal ID number without the hyphens. And the next message is to enter date of birth. So after inputting your date of birth, there's a message. Thank you. You will receive the list of numbers registered with your Ghana card via SMS shortly. And just before I finish reading the message, I got a notification from 402, a message from 402. I'll open the message and read to you what it says. The message is this: the numbers registered with your Ghana card are, then it continues to mention the name of my MNO, my mobile network operator. Then it mentions my number, also the number I registered my Ghana card with. Well, for us, it's all good. The numbers registered our Ghana cards with are exactly the numbers we're receiving as having been registered only with our Ghana cards. There are no extra numbers registered with our Ghana cards. But let's find out from some members of the public what the situation is like for them. Come with me.
The SIM re-registration exercise using the Ghana card was expected to drastically reduce mobile fraud. However, just like many innovative systems, complaints of multiple SIM registrations using the Ghana card was rife, as many called for a common and simple system that will allow them to verify the numbers linked to their cards. The NCA subsequently engaged the various telecommunication networks to launch a short code that will allow subscribers to verify the number of SIMs linked to their Ghana cards. Although the system has been largely successful, others had challenges.
Code na mode ye boy no e the right but ama adentina ama.
The code does not work. There is something they should do about it.
We have been
trying the code to know maybe our Ghana card is being registered by another person and the person is using it. But we are reading the code, it's not coming. So how can we verify that somebody is using our account? And this is a very serious issue because when somebody uses this thing now to do anybody, they are going to trace me.
According to senior lecturer at the Information Services Department of GIMPA, Dr. Joseph Budu, these challenges are to be expected.
As with any information system, there could be a few hiccups. So we can have the social side where maybe somebody will be entering a wrong code or is entering a wrong Ghana card number. And there's a technical side. That is where the number of people that are trying to check their registered SIM numbers are too much to handle. If the optimal number of requests is, let's say, 100 100 requests per minute and there are 5,000 people checking, there will be traffic.
For Douglas and Inshira, they had no knowledge of the intervention from the NCA to protect the integrity of the SIM register. This is alien to me. I am hearing this for the first time. Ishmael, a trader at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, after going through the process, says he was shocked at what he found. A lot of numbers popped up and I'm worried because I could be arrested for a crime I didn't commit. According to the NCA, the delinking will be done only at the customer care centers of the MNOs to ensure only the right owners of SIMs are allowed to delink. This, Dr. Budu says, ought to improve.
I don't think it's the best option. We should grow to implement self-service technologies. The guy has come to you physically to come and register and attach his or her phone number, current phone number, to the Ghana card. And you have given him the opportunity to see that there are other SIM cards registered. Allow him to block those other numbers, or at least flag them.
The Ministry of Communication began the SIM registration in October 2021 in what Vice President Dr. Bawumia said is to rid the country's cyberspace of fraud, monitor and track down persons who use their phones for criminal activities. Meanwhile, over 11 million SIM cards are expected to be deleted from the SIM database by 31st May 2023.
In other news this evening, a Justice of the Appeals Court, Justice Victor Ofue, has handed over a new library he funded to Adafo to promote education in the Adan East District of the Greater Accra region. The facility will be managed by the Ghana Library Authority with support from the community.
The facility is stocked with books for basic and second cycle education. The Justice of the Appeals Court, Justice Victor Ofue, is confident the provision of the library would contribute towards quality education delivery in the district.
This library is for the community. Having completed it, I owe no bigger share than anybody. It is not a property. It is for the community to be handled by the community through the patrons and board members. All citizens of Adan own it, and we expect all to come forward to contribute in sustaining it.
The Adan East District Chief Executive, Sarah Pobi, was grateful for the gesture.
This is something that is coming to help our children in reading. I could say that you can read when you don't understand. How do you answer questions when being given to you? So he thought it wise that this should be a foundation for our kids so that they can start up with this reading to understand exactly what they are reading so that they can also replicate that in their classrooms.
The Greater Accra Regional Director of Ghana Library Authority, Edward Adu, pledged to ensure the maintenance of the facility.
We have sports news coming up shortly. Don't go away.
Does money mean to you?
It means convenience. It gives me the ability to do business at my own pace.
It allows me to live my life with ease and enjoy my lifestyle without interruptions.
Security. I can make investments I can trust, and I know exactly where my money is all the time.
Having the flexibility to do what I want to.
The feeling and peace of mind I get knowing I can safely receive remittances from my family and friends from the comfort of my home. Money means safety.
Money means so many things to so many people, but no matter what you use it for or what it may mean to you, money is the one thing that keeps us going and makes our lives a little bit brighter. So what does money mean to you? Just Momo it.
MTN.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature.
There's harmony in nature everywhere around. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water. One for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA.
What makes a gentleman? It's how the need to protect the things that matter pushes him to persevere. It's how he immerses himself in thoughtfulness. It's how trust is his shield. You can smell his integrity from a mile away. Introducing the Gentleman's Cosmetic Range. Be one of us. Be a gentleman. Ye are Brantier.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Gentleman Cosmetic Range.
It's now time to check class attendance. If you are here, say present. Dr. Esiedu Date.
Present.
Chief Fire Officer Ray Kwampofu.
I'm here.
Read and
ready,
sports news.
yes,
Take
ready
over.
to quench all your fire.
Take over.
Well, thank you very much. As Portia rightly said, my name for today is Chief Fire Officer Oreku Ampofo, and let's just get to work, because as part of the process to make American football more popular here in Ghana, Philadelphia Eagles hosted part of their 2023 NFL draft unveiling in Akosombo. Former Ghana captain Stephen Appiah had the privilege of announcing one of the draft picks for the Eagles. There's more details in the following 3 Sports report.
Hours before the 2023 NFL draft, fans had gathered at the Bridgeview Hotel in Akosombo, some 80 kilometers from the capital. Hundreds had trooped into the venue, which wasn't surprising considering the efforts put in by the Philadelphia Eagles to boost their presence in Ghana. The Eagles had recently partnered with Gate Africa to continue the brand's growth in Ghana. Last year, more than 300 Ghanaians gathered at the country's first ever official Eagles Super Bowl watch party. The excitement carried on months later as the atmosphere in Akosombo grew better and better. Former Ghana captain Stephen Appiah had the honor of announcing the Philadelphia Eagles round 7 pick in the 2023 NFL draft.
With the 249th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Moro Ojomo, defensive tackle, Texas.
Ojomo, who was born in Nigeria and moved to the United States at the age of 7, had an impressive career at Katy High School in the Houston area before becoming a contributor for the Longhorns. The announcement was beamed from Ghana to NFL draft viewers across the world, showcasing the global appeal of the sport. The selection of Ojomo by the Eagles marked their final pick in the draft, with the team hoping that he will make a positive impact on their defense. The rain couldn't stop the party as dancehall star Stonebwoy took to the stage to perform some songs from his new project titled Fifth Dimension for the fans in attendance. Introducing American football to Ghana, a country that has been historically associated with football played with a round ball and feet, may be a tough call. But with the strides the Philadelphia Eagles are making in the country, it is only a matter of time before the sport gains ground here.
Well, from football that's played with the hands, let's move to football played with the feet, because Kpando Hearts of Lions have gained promotion to the 2023-2024 Ghana Premier League during the weekend. With 6 matches to go, they are making a return to Ghana's top flight league after an 8-year spell in the second-tier competition following their relegation in the 2015 season. Now, the communications director of the club revealed to 3 Sports how pleased he is with the team's achievement so far.
This has been a dream come true for Team Hearts of Lions. Ever since we got relegated from the Premier League, we've been making a lot of efforts to get back to the highest football league in Ghana. And this is the moment that we found ourselves. The team has been in an ecstatic mood. We are very happy. The technical team are happy for this moment of achievement. Management is happy. And our supporters are so much very happy. Not forgetting Ferro Rabank, who are our sponsors. This time around, we are very sure that preparations will be intense so that we'll come into the league, stay in the league, make an impact, and bring back that fearful moment that Lions brings into the elite football in Ghana.
Well, to Europe now. Well, on Tuesday, Arsenal will host City rivals Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium as they look to reclaim top spot in the English Premier League. The coaches of the both teams have been speaking ahead of the game.
I don't think it's unfair. It's football. We are Arsenal Football Club. We have to be here to win every single trophy. This is the demands. The reality, what happened in the last 15 years, that's not the reality. But the demands have to be there. So the thing that I like the most, again, I repeat myself, great, we are in Champions League, and everybody is still unsatisfied with the situation. And this is what we need if we want to move forward as a club and as a team.
Low on confidence, and they're also low on performance. So I think I shouldn't. Whatever at the time. We changed manager a lot in some of those periods.
Now, before we go, some piece of history as Ghanaian student at Western Texas College, James Darcy, has set a new national record in the men's 200-meter race with a sizzling time of 19.79 seconds run at Crowfoot Shootout in Texas on Saturday night. Darcy's new time meant that he has broken Joseph Paul Amwer's record, which stood at 20.08 seconds. That was set in 2019, which also means that he becomes the first Ghanaian to race under 20 seconds in the men's 200-meter sprint. Well, that's how we wrap up the sports here on News 360 with me, Chief Fire Officer Oreku Ampofo. There's some fire to quench, and so I do have to go. But I think entertainment is up next here on News 360, so kindly stay with us.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water and powered by 3 Entertainment.
Tonight in this segment, the much-awaited talk show, Odia Showtime with Nanama McBrown, has officially been launched. The star-studded launch was graced by top entertainment personalities like Ken Promise, MOG, Fameye, Dope Nation, rapper Yao Talk, as well as some actresses. The grand launch paved the way for weeks of would-be exciting conversations with your favorite stars, trendsetters and news makers. We'll bring you that story, but in the meantime, fastest rising Afro dancehall sensation DSL says he's warming up to give audiences the best of performances on the VGMA stage. The Lynx Entertainment signed artist will perform on the main VGMA Awards night as part of his packages for winning the Unsung Act of the Year. Speaking on New Day this morning, the We Make 9 single also opened up about a possible collaboration with Chaka.
Oh, happy
But winning this means that you're going to perform on the big stage. How prepared are you?
I'm prepared, but I'm still getting prepared because I think this will be a time that most people will see me for the first time. So what do you have to do for them to know that you are also good? You need to prove something. You get me? So I'm prepared, but I'm still getting more prepared because I think as at now, I will be prepared, but if I do more research and learn more stuff, I will do better than how I'm prepared now.
Are you nervous?
Yeah. No, I'm not nervous. I always pray to perform to big people and a crowd, numbers of people, and when I see them, I go crazy. That's me. So I don't get nervous when
you rather get fired up when you see
yeah.
When
I see. What would you say to the other 5 artists who were in the unsung category? I mean, they were all very optimistic that they would be the ones to represent on stage.
Yeah. And I feel their energy too. They know, and I'm saying it here again, that this is not the end of the journey. It's just a category that one person needs to win. And it happened to be me. It could be them also, but this doesn't mean they should stop pushing, you know. They should keep pushing for other categories and stuff.
If you hadn't won, who would they have gone to?
That's what I can't tell because each and every one they put in the work.
Political answer. Take that off and give us who. Honestly, when you look at the talents that was in there.
If it does not him, nobody else.
Are you planning to collaborate with any of them?
Yeah.
If you have to choose one, who would it be?
Don't be doing that. You came from who would win to who
I'm
would
just asking a simple question.
Just a simple question.
Choose. Okay, so I've already had a collaboration with Maya Blue.
Yeah.
Let's return to our earlier story on the much-awaited talk show Onua Showtime with Nanama McBrown, which was officially launched yesterday.
The launch of Onua Showtime with Nanama McBrown has been described by many as a massive success. Onua Showtime with McBrown keeps receiving plaudits from industry stakeholders for its dynamic set design, lighting, production quality, and exciting star-studded guest lineup. With a staggering 12K viewers monitoring the show on Facebook, the first episode certainly made a huge statement that is here to make a difference on the showbiz landscape.
Onua Showtime here came from the Saban Okra microphone that I was saying.
As the night came to a close, the audience left with memories that would last a lifetime, and the hope that Onua Showtime with McBrown will continue to bring together the best of Ghana's music and entertainment scenes as the show unfolds.
Yecha Onua Showtime Keki with our dear sister Nanama McBrown, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Make a date with the all-new and exciting Onua Showtime with McBrown every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. on Onua TV.
It was a really big show. If you missed it, you can go to our various social media handles, Onua portal, and you definitely get to rewatch and be part of the show. But it's on every Friday and Sunday, 7 p.m. Onua TV, and on all their socials. Do catch the Empress, Nanama McBrown, over there. Let's find out what's happening on the international front now.
Russia has launched a series of missiles at Ukrainian cities in the second pre-dawn attack in 3 days. Pavlograd, a logistics hub near the central city of Dnipro, was hit ahead of a much-anticipated counter-offensive by Ukraine. The strike sparked a major fire, destroyed dozens of houses, and wounded 34 people. Hours later, the air raid alert sounded across the country, with the capital Kiev among the targets. The most significant damage was in Pavlograd, a city in Ukrainian-held territory around 70 miles from the front line. At least 108 police officers have been injured in clashes across France with protesters angry at pension reforms, the Interior Minister has said. Gerald Damanin said such a large number of police wounded was extremely rare, adding that 291 people had been arrested during the unrest. Hundreds of thousands have been taking part in May Day demonstrations against President Emmanuel Macron's reforms. Most were peaceful, but radical groups threw petrol bombs and fireworks. Police responded with tear gas and water cannon. It is not clear how many protesters have been injured.
And that's it for News 360. We say Ayiko to all workers, especially teachers, because I always say that the teaching profession is one profession that creates all other professions. So kudos to all teachers as well.
And absolutely to all of you who've been pushing the efforts, pushing the boundaries to make sure Ghana works. Kudos to you. We hope you enjoyed the day. My name is Martin Esiedu Date.
And I am Portia Gabo. Ayiko.